Mr. Political, you know when you give me a call, I have a ton of questions for you. Now, I know basically what this means, but it's been coming up a lot, especially in the comments section, and you've been mentioning a lot. The RICO Act. Also, with you being down there in Central Florida, what does that mean to Central Florida, since especially Orlando is growing by leaps and bounds? Also, there are a few political entities that I know you want to touch on to bring into this conversation, and I'm willing to hear it. Talk to me, brother.
Yes, good, Lance. I'm glad to be back. I know that I blow your phone up, but we are everlasting, ever going, changing. I have an opportunity and been in Orlando for the last 2 weeks, and it's a beautiful place. A beautiful place. And I question why, after 23 years being less than 100 miles away, why I haven't spent more time in Orlando. I remember in my youth, in the streets, that Orlando was a dangerous, ugly, dirty place, that individuals did not have a great deal positive to say about it. But we were fortunate enough to have a power couple, if I pronounced it correctly. This power couple, the Demings, Val Demings and her husband, are some of the most powerful blacks within the city of Orlando. So it gives me great pleasure to not only speak to you, but hopefully I grab the ear of Ms. Demings, who is running against Marco Rubio for the great state of Florida. She loves our state, she loves our people, but I asked her in her concerns, because she puts most concern toward those voters who are a great deal shade lighter than me. That is the political way to say that she select the white voter over the black voter. So I'm going to give her an opportunity to show that she's not a panderer. I'm going to give her an opportunity to show that she believes in the American way. Because as Americans, we do not like gangsters, thugs, hoods, child molesters, rapists, individuals who commit fraud, individuals who commit racketeering, individuals who create what we fondly call, under the white vernacular, criminal enterprises. So Ms. Val Demings had stood before as second to the next step to the Black Congressional Caucus chairperson. I asked Ms. Demings openly and honestly, could she reimagine the RICO Act against the loyal fraternity of law enforcement union, national branch, and its subsidiaries on the local level. Now, most of us, as black people, have always seen the RICO Act as an encroachment upon our civil rights, that it was created for us, which we are deeply mistaken. It was not created for us. It was created to remove the mafiosos, organized crime, those who had did heinous things to the public, those who have held guns on the public, those who have used the public to gain financial gain and to oppress them. Sound like the police, don't it? So the law fraternity of law enforcement, if the RICO Act under Robert Kennedy is applied, then all the heinous murders, 300 and over 300. If we apply this RICO Act, if we reimagine this RICO Act, then the possibility of the hate, the racial violence, the racial distrust will come to an end. Unfortunately, this union must be prosecuted. Just like in Ohio, laws are created to prevent things. The RICO Act will prevent innocent death. The RICO Act will prevent heinous raping of children and women and attacking of old ladies, misappropriation of funds, lying under oath, planting evidence, fabricating evidence, ignorance of the law. This RICO Act has made it possible for multiple decades for us to be safe away from individuals who do harm to us. The RICO Act has been applied in multiple states throughout our land. The RICO Act has been used in multiple ways to push or crush association of evil people and their heinous actions against the American people. Ms. Val Demings, I call you out in the middle of an election as the second heir to the Black Congressional Caucus. I call you out, Val. I ask you, since you won't give an individual opportunity to speak to you, but you pander for our vote, I ask you, knowing that you have no intentions of replying, but you will reply Marco Rubio, who is just as egotistical as you. The only thing is that y'all have a very hard time when y'all go to Victoria's Secret which color y'all gonna share for panties. Marco Rubio is a respectful man who believes that his culture and his race is of importance. Can we reimagine you, Val Demings, feeling that? I ask you, Val, why can't we use the RICO Act against the loyal fraternity of law enforcement? The union. Too many times, our politicians have thrown our police force under the bus. I am not a great fan of law enforcement, but they are a necessary evil in a satanic world. This necessary evil must be put back in check. This necessary evil must be taught who pays the freight. This necessary evil must find humanity and love other than with their family and their association of clan members. Val, you have seen, as we have seen, for over 6 years, the heinous behavior of this association. Val, you have worn the blue. You have stood before crowds and stated that they are our heroes. Your husband has served. You have served. And now you pander to service further. Just as that individual officer in New Mexico who was a coward, who moved into the political realm and became a city council person by vote and manipulation and lie. Is that the course, Val, that you are taking? If not, I challenge you. Yes, I challenge you to answer the question, why can't the RICO Act be brought against the loyal fraternity of law enforcement? Why must these individuals commit heinous murder and get less than 2 years and then put in luxury in the Department of Corrections? These are your fellow law enforcement officers, Val. Unfortunately, as an American citizen, you don't see me as an American citizen. If you see me as an American citizen, Val, then let's have a conversation. Let's meet up somewhere as two human beings who care about the American public, and let's have a dialogue, or you inform me and empower me to why we can't use the RICO Act in the state of Florida against the loyal fraternity of law enforcement and its associations. These individuals are out recruiting. They have tried to recruit within the state of Florida, within the county which I live in. I'm very proud of Wayne Ivey for his stance against these thugs, these gangsters. And when they try to infiltrate the great state of Florida, he sent his own employee and those heinous creatures packing. We do not allow that kind of coward to be on our police force. We're multiracial, multi-ethnic, and multi-American. This organization, the Loyal Fraternity of Law Enforcement, are communists, Al-Qaeda. By any heinous name you want to name them, they are not American citizens. They do not love God or the Constitution, and they spit and piss upon the flag by raising their hand and saying that they will be loyal to the American people. It was brought to my attention, and that's why I'm speaking, and I am reaching out to Val, that those heinous officers in Mexico, after they did not do their job, they went and was concerned whether or not they were going to get paid for those hours for standing around and watching those children be murdered. That is an organization that needs to be disbanded. That is an organization that needs to be stricken from the history records. And if need be, we will follow the path of our grandfathers, and we will offer their building dust, ashes. All of us who live in America, who understand the cleaning and cleansing of heinous bacteria, understand the only thing to do is burn them out, to remove them from the face of the earth, to scorn them and turn their, because this organization, among all the heinous organizations of racial hatred within our country, leads the charge under the letter of law. Lead the charge with statement, I fear for my life. To the point that they fear from their lives from a 4-year-old child in a diaper with no shoes on and no shirt. That the officer felt that that child posed a threat. So we can pretty much come to the conclusion that those 400 officers felt that those 19 children that were murdered posed a threat to their lives. That's why they did not act. That's a coward. The woman who lay with those cowards, may her children come out with birth defects, because she is most warranted for that heinous action upon her child. She breathes below the food chain, and she supports heinous people who do not love children. By your own understanding, I feel no empathy or feel respect for the coward in blue. But what I will do is not cry, not lie, but act. That's what I will do. So Val, I am acting as an American citizen and as a veteran, if you respect veterans of the state of Florida, understanding that the state of Florida, among all states, respect the veteran. I call you out, Val Demings. I call you out, and I ask you to ask this question or stand in shame and lose my vote. I have voted for you. I have supported you. I feel that you are competent. But if you cannot protect the American people, if you cannot think outside the box other than political gain and financial gain for your family and your husband, Val, I challenge you as a politician to come forward and answer the question on why the state of Florida can't enact the Rico Act against the Law Fraternity of Law Enforcement. This Rico Act will make us sleep better at night, will make our children feel safe in their schools, will make our elderly not be concerned that those who are portrayed as heroes will come to their knees. I ask you this. I beg you humbly, which you will ignore, as most politicians have ignored over the last 6 years in this slashing and burning of the American faith in law enforcement. I beg you, I plead with you, like no veteran in this country she'll have to do for protection of his family against rogue organizations. This organization takes its marching orders from the Ku Klux Klan, the same marching orders which created the Rico Act, that made it possible for an old lady who lost her son in Alabama to two heinous individuals who had ties with law enforcement, who were members of a heinous organization called the Ku Klux Klan. She brought legal action to disband their organization, to seize their property and their assets, to demolish them as a organization that ever existed and stricken from the books. Yeah, we'll take your tax dollars. We even pimp your children through the school, but we will not allow you to exist any further. I call Val Demings as the next chairman of the Black Congressional Caucus to be proactive in the safety of her people. Be proactive in the camaraderie and fellowship of the American people, to not hate each other based upon color and ideology. Val, you stand as the gatekeeper to all our safety. You put your hand and you open your mouth and you say you want to serve the people of the great state of Florida. You say you want better for the great people of the state of Florida. You say by any means necessary, Florida will achieve and grow prosperous. If you truly believe this, Val, if that's what you, other than speaking out of the side of your mouth, truly believe, then let's have a dialogue about bringing the Rico Act to remove the law fraternity of law enforcement, the national branch, and the local entities from the state of Florida. You owe us that much for our loyalty. You owe that much respect for believing in you. And if you, as a member of the Black Congressional Caucus of the state of Florida and a member of the Black Congressional Caucus on the federal, are a voice. And the voice of the people of the great state of Florida is for you to go before the Black Congressional Caucus and gain allies to bring and to start procedures with the RICO Act against the law fraternity of law enforcement, the union, and its entities. These individuals pose the greatest threat to our liberty. These individuals hold our children hostage. These individuals terrorize our elders. These individuals assault, molest, rape, and sodomize our women. This organization is the greatest danger to freedom in America. This organization is unworthy of due process. This organization is not our friend. They will take union dues and they will do little snippets on TV and YouTube and Instagram to make you believe that these individual cowards who wear blue are human beings, that they care about your children, they care about the safety of those who have mental defects and physical defects. But in actuality, what they do is terrorize. And that's all they do. They do not serve and protect. That's why it is a necessary need to implement the RICO Act against the loyal fraternity of law enforcement, the union. There will be those out there that say I have a crawdad up my anus about this union. This union is the gatekeeper to horror. That there will be no horror if this union does not exist. There will be no horror if this union doors are closed. As an American, as a proud Black American who has served his country, I feel a necessary need to destroy this union. This union is un-American. This union poses a threat to not only my safety, your safety, but even Jesus Christ's safety. This is how heinous this union is. These individuals sit in pews in churches and lie to the Lord, and the Lord has protected them. And now that the Lord has bowed his head in shame for their existence, he, the Lord, feels that there is no necessary need for them to be around anymore. They are the spawn of the devil, and their seed will be the furthering of the heinous actions. Yes, that's what I'm saying. When you look at the law of fraternity of law enforcement, you will find multiple generations. Multiple generations. So they're teaching their seed to be racist. They're teaching their seeds to hate individuals based upon their color and their economic standards. Their seed, which should have been aborted, since I don't believe in abortion, I will stand out on a limb and say that the seed of those cowards need to be aborted. And I got 4 million men who feel that there is a necessary need to abort the membership of the law fraternity of law enforcement and its union. Many will not think outside the box, as Val has not thought outside the box. She is a member of that organization. She supports that organization. So that should tell you everything you need to know when you go to the polls. It may be a possibility that we did not climb up the ladder the same way. The rumor is that I did it upon my feet. The rumor is that she did it in the back of the car. Val is not one to be spoken about as being in the buck. But in this situation, she spread eagle. And we ask her, we beg her, and we plead with her. And even though we are beneath her in our speech, that is, she is the chosen one who feels that she's above the people, which by the look of Orlando, she does not feel that way. By the look of Orlando, her husband does not feel that way. But they boo and they cry when there's a loss of a coward in blue. So I ask you, in the great work that you did to clean this city and bring it to its prominence, to go one step further to ensure the people of Orlando and the people of the state of Florida are safe and secure in the belief that their law enforcement officers are American, that their law enforcement officers are not part of a secret organization who hate America, that their law enforcement officers understand that they serve at the behest of the Constitution and the people of the great state of Florida, that their law enforcement understands that their sovereign immunity is on the verge of being gone, that each and every time that a person loses his life, as that little boy that I spoke about earlier, 4-year-old, barefoot, no shirt, and a diaper, was a heinous threat to his life. We need not people like that, and we will not accept people like that in the state of Florida. Wayne Ivey, the most respected white man who serves as law enforcement, stated it best. There are thugs and hoods in the law fraternity of law enforcement. That they are gangsters and they are not welcome in the state of Florida. They're not welcome. As Wayne Ivey employee found out as he tried to recruit these Nazis, these heinous creatures who have did heinous things to American people, he is an American. He is worthy of your vote, as well as the sheriff in Polk County, who said it best. You come, you mess with our children in the state of Florida, you will be graveyard dead. Hear what I'm saying? If you come brandishing a gun, threatening the citizens and their children on our holiest ground of education, that you will be graveyard dead. These are respectable law enforcement officers. And they're white. Go figure. They white. And they love the children. So, Val, if all these things are true about the law enforcement officers in the state of Florida, then you have no problem going up to Washington, D.C. as you beg for our vote to send you there, to open up Senate hearings concerning the Rico Act, investigating the law fraternity of law enforcement union and its subsidiaries, destroying them, and removing the heinous creatures, the two-legged wonders, white, free, and 21, who believe that they have special privilege to do heinous actions against the American people. They have moved into our law enforcement. And Val, as you have pledged to serve the people of the state of Florida, as you have parted your lips and requested our assistance in putting you in Washington, D.C. to make the great state of Florida more greater than it is today. I love Florida, as I had loved California, but Florida is my home. Florida has offered me an opportunity for me, my children, and my life. And that, as a veteran, I'm sworn to protect Florida. That's why I stand upon my soapbox and I challenge Val Demings, Miss Val Demings, to open up a dialogue about bringing the Rico Act against these heinous creatures who belong to the loyal fraternity of law enforcement and their unit. If she is just pandering 4 years, 8 years, how long her term is, then she will not reply. If she is deeply concerned about her fellowship within the devil's bosom, then she will not reply. If she is deeply concerned whether or not she is going to get special privileges and a multi-million-dollar funeral, then she won't reply. Her loyalty is not with the American people, but with the cowards in blue. She wore the cowards in blue's clown uniform. She participated as a clown with the cowards of blue. So what better person, better woman, what better black person? Oh, that's right, Val's an Afro-American. So she has no regard and no respect for black people. She only has respect and regard for Afro-Americans. And if that is the case, I ask you to do it for the Afro-American who is ignorant, who wades in the muck and the feces of life. I ask you this, Val. I beg you openly. I use this platform, which resonates throughout the state of Florida, that is within ear reach of Miss Val Demings in her home and her husband. And as she tells us that she could do a better job than Marco Rubio, I challenge her to show that she is competent. If she does not pick up the mantle of this challenge, then she is no better than the chief of police for the school department who allowed those 19 children to murder. But that's who she's in association with. That's who she stands up for. Will she stand up for the American people? Will she stand against heinous and ugly individuals who terrorize the American people? In her pursuit to be your senator, will she have the loyalty of those who believe in her? Will she question law enforcement? Will she open up dialogue with citizens who are most tired of their existence and use the Rico Act to squash their heinous behavior? Use the Rico Act to weed out the ugliness, to weed out those who are not acceptable, to put our laws into place, to make sure that our laws and our people are protected. What must a person do, Val? Or is it necessary to get a response by showing up on your door with camera? But you would do as most politicians do in this situation. You will run and hide. You will urge your husband to get you additional protection, the same protection that you will not offer the American people in the great state of Florida. I'm not trying to put you down, Val. I'm just trying to get you to step up and man up. Somewhere in the Demings house, there must be a man. May it wear bra and panties or use Viagra to satisfy her. But somewhere in that household of the Demings, there is a man. Somewhere in that household of the Demings, there is an American who does not see color or race, but sees that every American needs to be protected from Nazis, Klan members, and those who hate America. That's where the hate comes from, Val. From the loyal fraternity of law enforcement, your membership, your association. And since you the police, I must bring up a quote that is known by the police. Two of them, exactly. See something, say. That's a police quote. You hear me? See something, say something. That's a police quote. The other, I dare not say it. Because if I say it, then those who put Val in high esteem will be disheartened in her run for this political office. The second is, you're guilty by association. You're guilty by association. You're guilty by the uniform that you wear. You're guilty by the receipts of your union dues. You're guilty by being a politician and saying nothing and allow individuals to not say nothing and avoid the question and not replying. But that's part of being the police, lying. And once you're the police, you always the police. So can we question Val Demings' honesty? Can we question whether or not she is going to be truthful to the American people in the state of Florida? Can we really question that? Or do we lean upon guilty by association? I have pictures of her proud uniform, but no pictures of her in her proud exercising of the American freedom. Val, I beg you. I get familiar and I use your first name like I use toilet paper. Val, open up a dialogue. Lead the charge. As you move up the food aid chain of the Black Correctional Caucus, be one who thinks outside the box. Be one who uses their political clout, their political position, and use it wisely. And open up a dialogue concerning the Rico Act against the loyal fraternity of law enforcement and its subsidiaries. This organization, which feeds our police departments throughout the nation, these individuals would not be enabled to do heinous crimes to American people if they were not associated with this organization. This organization has the final say-so who can and who cannot be part of their union. At the same time, they use their actions to put these heinous people behind guns and badges and then protect them as they break the law. And when they are terminated, they run to their rescue to protect them. Where is their loyalty to the American people? And I speak of the loyal fraternity of law enforcement, their union and their subsidiaries throughout the land. This organization is powerful. This organization has paid too many politicians. This organization has used its position to fleece you of your hard-earned dollars. This organization is empowered to protect words who terrorize the American people. Their union membership, top staff, Stalin, Hitler, Mussolini, they go by these names. These are individuals that they are proud of and that they sleep with T-shirts each and every night as they plot your demise and your children's demise. This heinous organization will not go away without Val's assistance and your assistance. As we look and bury another child that was heinously killed by the police for no reason other than he got caught with his feelings, that he felt because he was white, free, and 21, that he had the right to take someone's life and then not be punished and to run and hide so no one will retaliate against him. Val, if you believe in America, then you understand America. That if you do not implement, if you do not pursue this course, blood will run in the streets. Blood will run in the street as we go toward 2023. But unfortunately, the only blood that will be upon that sidewalk will be the blood of membership of the law fraternity of law enforcement, the union, and the national branch. Violence is coming out, and only you can stop it in your pandering of our vote. Only you can change the course of the destruction of America. Only you, by your own words, can protect and serve Florida. I ask you, through this platform, as a citizen of the state of Florida, to be proactive in the survival of its citizens. Be proactive in the safety of its, and to be proactive in restoring the faith of the citizen in law enforcement. And the only way you can do that, Val, the only way that you can accomplish that, Val, is to remove the law fraternity of law enforcement, the union, and its subsidiaries. The people, in short conversation, find no qualm with removing the law fraternity of law enforcement. They find no issue with putting these carpetbaggers on the streets who are no-mans, who are worse than gunslingers, who peruse the streets of our nation from state to state, committing heinous crimes, violations of civil rights. Val, come on, gal. Do your job. Restore the faith in the law fraternity of law enforcement. Not the union, but the officer who served. Not the union, but the officer who believed in the American people. Not the union. The officer who would not hurt a child. Not the union. These are things which are true. And even though they are true, a large majority of the American people do not want to hear the truth about this heinous organization. That just like a domestic violence victim, they do not want to let go of their oppressor. Those who dot their I's and make them look like raccoons. those who make them lie about the love and loyalty of this organization. The American people are becoming domestic violence victims, which are terrorized by domestic terrorists, the law of fraternity of law enforcement and its union. So, if it's possible, Val, which you have no respect for my color or me, but you pander for my vote and my taxpayers' dollars, that you will overlook this cry for help. But you're a member of the law of fraternity of law enforcement who ignores the cries of children and women who have no love for their country. Now, I'm not going to assume this. I'm only going by you're guilty by association. So if it's not true, Val, and say it ain't so, Val, that you'd rather see a child die than serve and protect. Val, is that your makeup? Is that how you put your bra on, Val? That you ignore the cries of children? Val Demings is running for your vote in the great state of Florida, which we have no problem with her running. We just have a problem with her association and her willingness and unwillingness as a politician, and that individual who is pandering for your vote, that she is unwilling because of her association to protect the people of the state of Florida. She is unwilling because of her loyalty to the coward who wear blue, that she rather forsake our than do the right thing. Now, these are all assumptions. There's a lot of people out there who are saying that Val Demings, in my pursuit to convince her to be proactive about the safety of the people of the state of Florida, to pursue the Rico Act, which Robert Kennedy gave his life for. Can you say that, Val, that you love the American people enough to go out on a limb and disassociate yourself with the law, fraternity of law enforcement, and use your political clout and your position to disband the law, fraternity of law enforcement, the union, and its local subsidiaries? Do you care for the people of the state of Florida enough to disassociate, to investigate, and to disband the law, fraternity of law enforcement union? Or was the check so big that you looked the other way? That's what I claim, that Val looked the other way because she got a check. Not a little bitty check. She got a check for campaign. She got a check for living expenses. We're going to call it that. We ain't going to call it nothing else but living expenses. All right. Now, Val, if you took money from the law fraternity union to look the other way while they murder your citizens in the streets, then you're not worthy to be there. And in our conversation, could you please just go to the mic and say, I didn't take any campaign money from the law fraternity of law enforcement? Because you did. You and your husband did. That's how much you care about the people of the state of Florida. You care more about your association with this heinous organization that you're willing to serve. And no, I'm not trying to bring down her campaign. I'm trying to elevate her campaign. Because opening up this dialogue will bring more registered voters to the table than protecting those cowards. Val, do this not for my child, because you don't give a damn about my child, or you'd have been and did it. But do it for those who uses your toilet in your house. Do it for those who bathe in your tub. Do it for those who sit at your dinner table. Do it for your children's friends. so they may go home to their family, so they may not end up in wheelchairs, so they may not be molested and raped and brutalized because of their color or their sexual orientation, or because that free white 21 officer got caught up in his feelings and he wanted to prove that he was superior because he had a gun and a badge. Val, do this as you did that silly commercial. If you can do that silly commercial, then you can do this. This is a two-part series. At this junction right now, we talk about two players: the loyal fraternity of law enforcement and its subsidiaries, and my senator, my featured senator for the great state of Florida. As a taxpayer, a veteran, I call and I cry out to her for her assistance. And I use this platform in the middle of her election for her to make up her mind which side of the fence she's going to strap. This is your boy, Mr. Political, with part 1. Part 2 will give you more extensive information and history about the Rico Act. But let's get the dirt out the way first. Let's get the begging and the pleading and the crying out the way first. And then let's be informed. Let's be enlightened. Let's understand why we're knocking upon Val's door in the midst of this election. That only her, as our representative in Washington, D.C., can lead the charge to make sure that our children are safe, to make sure that our elderly are safe, to make sure that our women, which she shared the same chromosome with, are not molested, raped, and forced to commit sodomy, or have sodomy committed upon them by the coward in blue. Val, if you believe in the American way and the safety of the American people, holler at a brother. I'll be waiting. This is your boy, Mr. Political, and I'm out.